What's up? So, as you can see, that little bit of having a little bit of fun right there. But I do want, and I'm going to start doing some more videos. And I don't want all my videos to be talking about, necessarily serious shit or what most people would say is deep. And mind you, what's deep to some people is not so deep to others. But I do feel like it holds some value to some people, so I won't deprive them of what I may have to offer, and maybe I'll learn some things along the way. I hope I do. I would really appreciate if people would tell me some of the things that they would like to hear about, because I'd rather have a conversation than just guessing at what people would like to hear. I have a lot of writing. I have a lot of whether it's just chicken scratch of ideas that I've had, or actual paragraphs that make sense, or stories, whether it's informational or whether it's for entertainment. Usually they have some in-depth thought behind it, and hopefully can bring some people some measure of value. So some of the things that I talk on, obviously, if you follow my page at all, you've probably seen spiritual content, philosophical content, things on meditation and shit. What some of you may not know as well is that I've been in the business world for over 10 years now, business management and in sales. So those things actually, believe it or not, bleed together. Most people that are in higher ranking positions in terms of the corporate world do have some schooling on what would we call it? Mechanisms of the mind. It just has to do with personal magnetism. It has to do with conveying ideas. It has to do with just understandings of different things that help you in those situations as a leader. So, I don't want people to get confused when I'm talking 1 minute about something that sounds like a meditation concept, and then the next video is talking about business achievement, because really they do go hand in hand. And I believe, for one, that business is one of the best tools, if not the best tool, to help make a real tangible effect on the world in a way that you want to see that effect take hold. And now that we have also the advent of the different technologies that are at our disposal in social media, internet, anybody can make a website, anybody can set up a store. So this is a really fantastic time for people to take hold of the reins of what they truly want and desire in their life, to figure out what that is and try to turn it into a service or product that they can bring out into the world, and start living from within themselves rather than reaching out for things outside of them to say, oh, lawyers make a lot of money, let me go be a lawyer, and then go be a miserable rich lawyer for the rest of their lives. Or we see people, sometimes you go into something with the best intentions, or I want to be a teacher, and then you get into it and realize, well, I can't do much teaching at all in this school. Unfortunately, that's the case sometimes, and it's not to discredit anybody that goes into these fields. It's just to say that there is a lot of ways to fulfill what your internal impetus is and what your kind of soul is driving you towards, and it's not always what your intellect might at first think to divert your energies to. There's a lot of things out there that look like one thing, but to be honest with you, in order to be anything, just start doing it. That's the number one thing. I wanted to be an author, and I wrote a book. It may not be the book that a bestseller. I literally think I've sold one copy, but I have given a lot of copies out. It wasn't really for sale. It was more just something to do, and I'll write books later. Hopefully that more people will read. But the point of the matter is just to do what it is you want to do. Another thing that I'm really interested in is business, like I said. Most recently, I've helped a friend of mine build a business from scratch, start to launch, and in the period of 2 months, we did that from idea, from concept to launch. And I will share more of that with you, because I am still going to be involved in that business. But it was something that was a lot of fun to me, and it continues to be fun to me. So if any of you have any questions about business, marketing, or sales, please let me know. A lot of the things that I talk about are really simple, rudimentary things: writing your ideas down, brainstorming, setting goals, creating a larger vision and breaking it down into smaller, more manageable goals, and then breaking them even further down into daily goals that you can build on in order to reach that larger vision. And one big piece of it as well, when you're building, whether it's a business or anything, just something in your life that you want to do, running a marathon or just becoming a different person, health goals, is speaking things into existence. You really do want to talk to yourself, talk to other people, and there's again scientific and philosophical and spiritual reasons behind that, mostly to do with the workings of your subconscious mind. That being that being because the subconscious mind takes into itself whatever it is suggested by the conscious mind. Anyone who's read Think and Grow Rich knows about the idea of auto-suggestion, which is exactly what I'm speaking on, and how important that is. So the more and more you repeat something to yourself, the more and more the subconscious mind takes that into account and then brings that into your world as your reality. And before you know it, a year or two later, you're walking into exactly what you spoke the year or two before. I mean, and the Bible talks about that as well, right? Speaking things into existence. You are your words, you are what you eat, you are what you read. Mind you, when someone says stuff like you are what you eat, it's more than just consumption of food. It's the things you read, it's the things you take in on social media. So another big part of self-transformation as well is monitoring and being cautious and aware of what you're taking in terms of television, in terms of social media, in terms of music. Okay, doesn't mean you can't go out and have fun and indulge in different things. I certainly do, but just mean, you know, the old adage, take some things with a grain of salt and be aware of how it's affecting you. I don't know when you're watching this, but a couple of my more recent posts have to do with following trends, and not that there's anything wrong with it, but there are hands, little marionette puppets that move things around, and I look out into the social media landscape and I see how quickly and how easily people are swayed to this thing or that thing or this opinion or that opinion. You see this as well in the political realm, and it's to where, you know, someone may have an idea or a strong opinion on one thing, you know, 1 minute, and then the next minute it's diverted to this thing, and it's just very easy for people to be swayed. And what I want is for people to be able to hold in their own mind, you know, whatever it is they want to hold in their mind, and not let their will be diverted to something else just because an outside source influenced them to do that. You need to develop your will in order to be able to make any kind of impact in this world, and that's something that happens over time, but with practice you can learn to do. It's important. So we're on about 8 minutes into my off the top rant. I really do need to start structuring my videos a little better, because I never know what I'm going to talk about. It's usually just whatever comes to mind, and I don't want to stop talking because you don't want dead air. So I don't know what's going on lately. What have we been seeing? I don't like talking about politics. I could talk about it, but it's really like kind of below a fray that I like to venture into. I look at things from a higher macro standpoint. I really do think the world is going in a great direction. But, you know, anytime you're baking a cake, when you're putting all the ingredients in, stirring it up, it looks like chaos, right? But at the end of the day, at the end, I don't like saying the end of the day. That's the one cliche I really don't like to use, but I almost said it. But at the end result is, you know, a cake that hopefully everybody can enjoy and get a piece of. Or as Jay would say, I don't want a piece of the pie, I want my own cake. You can have that too, I suppose. I don't know, man. Really, I want for people to kind of talk to me. What do y'all want to hear about? I'm not as dumb as I look. I know I look, maybe I do. I don't know. But I would love to share, man. I would love to share ideas. I'll share with you some things that I got going on. How about that? So I have a business. The business is called Soma Mobile. You can actually go to the website. It's somamobile.club. We are semi-officially launched. We haven't really gotten into the marketing, but I think we're far enough along as to where I can talk to you about it. I won't really go into detail here. If you want to check out the website, go check out the website. It has to do with skincare. I will not be necessarily directly involved with I certainly won't be involved in the application of the skincare, but in terms of the behind the scenes stuff and just building the brand and the business, I'll be dealing with some of that. Another thing I got going on, Kids on Board. Any of you who have known me for an extended period of time have known that this is something that is very near and dear to my heart, that I have not given up on. I actually ran 2 pilot programs for it in Frederick, Maryland, with the Boys and Girls Club there. So I just reached out last week to the Boys and Girls Clubs here in Philadelphia, and I reached out to, who is this? Dan Kelchner, who is the Executive Program Officer for Philadelphia. So anyone that knows Dan know that I'm looking for him. If he doesn't answer my email, my phone calls, I'll be at his office. So this is Kids on Board. This is a photo from a few years ago, actually, when we did the skateboard program with the Boys and Girls Club of Frederick. And here's some of the kids. I had some shirts made. A local business donated to have the shirts made. So I want to try to make an impact here in Philadelphia as well. Another thing I want to do, besides these videos, I like to share my voice. So I think I'm a pretty good public speaker, but I want to get in front of some more people. So I will be looking for Toastmasters chapters to join. People have told me how great Toastmasters is. I got to go find out for myself, get around some like-minded people who want to, as Hove said, let their voice vibrate and get out there and talk about some different things and get in the mix. What else do I got going on? Kids on Board, Soma. I want to do some more consulting. I'm not charging people for consulting, but like I said, I help a friend of mine build his business. It's good I love just sharing ideas. So if you have anything that you have, hey Kyle, what do you think about this? I'd be more than happy to talk with you about that. Business development is something that I'm very interested in. And mind you, business, this is something that is the old. This is the old, and we're going into a new era. The old era is, in order to do business, there has to be a winner and a loser. You know, if you're in energy, the loser is environment, and the winner is the CEO putting money in his pockets. If you're in the music business, the winner is the person who has the copyrights, and the loser is the artist. We're moving into an era in time where there can be 3 parties winning: the people that are producing the product, the consumer, and everyone else involved. I believe that. I know that to be a fact. There is no limitation on resources other than the limitations we put on resources. The only thing finite in this world are those that we place limitations on. So in order to have a good business, everyone in that business needs to win. And there are plenty of good, like-minded people who think the same way, and these are the people that we need in leadership positions. So anywhere in the world that's happening, I want to be a part of. Please reach out to me, and I'll be of help in any way that I can. What else, man? I want to join some more. I am on Meetup. I want to join some more groups. A lot of the times, the Meetup groups, I'm not trying to, I go to some of them, like when I wanted to do the meditation stuff, and it wasn't necessarily what I am into when it comes to meditation, so I started my own, and I haven't really kept up with it. Maybe I'll start my Meetup group again. And then I also have a Path of Intent, which is, you can go to the @Path of Intent on Instagram or Facebook.com/Path of Intent, that I want to start contributing to more, where I talk about meditation, and I talk about spiritual concepts, and talk about the aura, the chakras, and things like that. I don't know everything about all this stuff, but I know a good amount about all this stuff. And it's something that I think more and more people are getting interested in, especially people age, I would say 18 to even up to 40 are interested in, and some even older, some people, but even that younger group is really starting to be more into, and I don't want to say into because that makes it sound trendy. This isn't trendy. These are actual things, but they're intangible things that we can't see, and material science never really dealt with. But now that we're getting into science that deals with the quantum world, and we're starting to see, oh shit, reality really does spring forth from our thought, not the other way around, where it was thought that there was material world, and then there was a brain made, and then thought and intelligence sprung from that brain. And now we see that, well, thought existed first, and then the material world sprang forth from that. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I'll do what I can to kind of help break it down. And there's so many people out there that are already doing this and are doing maybe a better job than me, but hopefully maybe I can convey it in a way that other people appreciate, or I can just guide you to some of the things that I've read. What am I reading recently? Books. What am I reading? Think and Grow Rich. That's always on the menu. Also by Napoleon Hill. There's a book called Outwitting the Devil. I started reading this thing I actually want to keep that one to myself until I finish it. But it's supposed to be like old texts that were found somewhere in Europe that are somehow connected to, they were passed down from writings that were originally made in Egypt. Some were even said to have been connected with Christ. I do read a lot about what you would consider religious things, and for some people that are put off by that, because a lot of people are saying these days, well, I'm more spiritual than more spiritual than religious. That's fine. I still read the text. You got to understand there's value in all these texts, whether it's the Quran or whether it's the Bhagavad Gita or whether it's the Bible and Christianity. There's different layers to it. There's what's there for the mundane, and there's what's there for the symbolic level, and then there's what's there for the spiritual level that you have to progress through. And not everyone's going to be there on their progression. In terms of their understanding of these different texts, but just reading them themselves, taking the stories in, is going to help you. And then when you go on your day-to-day journey through your life, and you grow in your knowledge, and you go back, the texts themselves start taking on different meanings. All of these texts start taking on different meanings. And one thing you'll find underlying all of these texts and religions is that there is one main thread of truth that runs through them all. I mean, they were each made for different peoples at different times for basically the same purpose, and that needs to be understood. Because I do see some people here on social media sites that are beginning to wake up to things, but like anyone who's just waking up, you can be kind of grumpy at first, right? You get up and you're like, wait a second, this isn't what it's supposed to be and all, but eventually you got to get rid of that grumpiness and start looking at things from a standpoint of ultimately all these things, even though some of them have bad things attached to it, and we don't turn a blind eye to the bad things. We see some of the bad things going on in religion right now that are coming to the surface. We have to find a way to move forward without shirking responsibility, but we have to find a way to move forward and kind of bring forward our positive intentions and letting the old kind of fall away. You're going to start seeing a lot of the old falling away in just the what's the right way? You're going to see it in government, you're going to see it in religion, you're going to see most of the things that have structured society. You're not going to see the structures themselves fully go away. You're going to see some of the ideals fall away, some of the leaders fall away, and these structures themselves, including government's not bad. Government is there for a purpose. What you'll see is that some of the laws, some of the people in place, you're going to see some of this start to take a new kind of form that is more what I would call righteous, that is more what I would say just, and that will benefit the people. And it's going to be moving from a kind of self-centered, self-serving sort of, aspect where it became commonplace, where you would just say, oh, politicians, of course he's putting money in his own pockets. A corporation, of course they're only serving their best interest. Where we know by how it's written that the best interest of the people of the whole is what these individuals, what these leaders are supposed to be serving. But now keep this in mind too, that as the macro level in terms of our government, in terms of our corporations, we're seeing these changes. These changes are also happening within us as well. As above, so below, as within, so without. So keep in mind that we're part of this change as well. There's no change that happens outside in the outside world that's not happening within each individual as well. So all of us are going to start taking on a view of the world that is more of a macro view, one that is kind of lifted the veil of separation, that we're not all separate, we are all kind of in this together, and there is a underlying lattice that kind of ties all of creational reality together, and that one thing done in the dark corner is going to have an effect on everything that is out there in the light. You can't just disconnect one action, disconnect one thought from the whole. Everything has an effect on everything else. So with that, it doesn't mean you have to be walking on eggshells, but it means we need to be more mindful of our thoughts and our actions in our day-to-day lives. That in turn is going to be seen as well reflected in our government and how we legislate. It's going to see reflected in our businesses and how they operate. I'm not telling you this as my opinion. This is what's going to happen. This is what is happening. We're living in a very exciting and interesting time now. It can be painful and confusing for some people who aren't kind of receptive of these changes. But for those of you who've kind of been waiting for like, why is the world not being the place that it's supposed to be? It's coming, and it's happening now. And but we all know that sometimes when you're going hatching through that egg, there can be some growing pains. But I guarantee there's really great stuff on the horizon. So I know I covered a lot of different crap. I mean, now you know what it's like on a phone call with me when I when I start ranting about certain things. So also, by the way, I'm in the Philadelphia area. So if anybody in the area wants to meet up and talk, I'm down to do that as well. Otherwise, obviously, we have social media and other things. So we're running on 20 minutes now. I don't even know if I'll be able to upload this to my IGTV, but I want to try my best. Maybe I'll throw it on YouTube. But the point is, too, that I want to start being more vocal. I want to start being more interactive with others. I hope whatever it is that I can say or that I say helps and interests others and get you thinking about things. Let me know. Talk to me. I want to know what you want to know. All right? This is Kyle. Love y'all. Peace.